Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what day trading opportunities there are today. You're going to see my technical analysis and my strategy, so if you're interested in those then stick around. Let's get started here then on the daily chart as usual. Just to remind you folks, at the top is EU, at the bottom is DXY. So what can we see from this daily chart? So yesterday we closed out as a doji on both EU and DXY. That again shows deceleration. Price obviously reached for some buy side liquidity, and on DXY reached for some sell side liquidity and closed out just above the open bullish. So you can see we took sell side and buy side liquidity on both sides that day and closed near the open. Now obviously that shows some deceleration. It may show that price has reached as far down into this daily order block on DXY as it's going to, because so far today you can see we've had this massive bullish run. We'll see more on the lower time frames, but that's what we can see on the daily. Of course, now we've come down into this discount and taken sell side liquidity, we may continue with that higher time frame trend that was happening of a bullish DXY, at least up until, you know, these highs or this area here, they're still unmitigated. Now onto the 4 hour. As discussed in my previous videos, we've had this bullish trend of high highs, high lows, pulled back to a premium of that previous leg and mitigated the buy side liquidity up here. Since then we pulled back to the discount and then made some sort of bullish run. Now at the moment we can see that there is a lot of bearish momentum since yesterday, since we took some buy side liquidity in here, and it's the same with DXY. We had our bearish pullback into this daily area, this fair value gap, mitigated about 50% of that fair value gap, which you can usually see reactions from. And now at this moment, we have failed to make a new higher high, and we have failed to make a new lower low on DXY. Of course, that's not set in stone yet, but at this moment we have failed. And just like I said, this is a weak high. If the low holds, now this will become weak lows. What we may see now, and what we'll be waiting to see, is if this trend changes. If we start to see these lows go, price closing beyond these lows, then we can see that it will be a new bearish leg, and that will be our new trend. For me, still, I think this leg's still intact. This leg may even really just go down to this area, but this is what I believe at the moment. I think this is the bullish leg because it created a new higher high. Once we start breaking down these internally on the 1 hour, then it will give us cause for that the trend has changed and we can adjust our expectations. So for now, I'm going to leave this as the current leg. I will say that, you know, we're looking bearish and there's a lot of bearish momentum, but I don't believe just yet that it's over, you know, because we still do have more downside here. If price does not make that higher high, we may still come for it. So it's just something to keep in mind. These are obviously, you know, future scenarios. As day traders, we only really care about the day. So what else do I see here? Obviously we've now come down into this 4 hour fair value gap. We've reached below it. This candle hasn't closed yet. Still got an hour and a half. We may come for these lows beforehand. You will notice that DXY and EU, I'll show you on the lower time frames, is a little bit out of sync. Also to note, we have our previous daily highs, previous daily lows. We've smashed through that previous daily low, so clearly the sell side liquidity resting below that is going to be doing nothing. The bearish momentum is continuing. Now the hourly, very important time frame for us as day traders and for myself. You can see, of course, we had this high low here, we consolidated, and then we made a new higher high internally, right? So, and a higher low here. Now we swept that buy side liquidity yesterday and we've broken down. This low is still intact. We may come to either sweep this low or sweep this low, or we could break through those all together and you would see that new internal break, right? That is possible. If we start closing with lower lows now, and now this lower high, these lows will become weak, I would assume, and we can come down, fill these fair value gap areas and towards the previous weekly low. Now I have these marked out because I believe they are areas of sell side liquidity which may cause reaction. So of course a lot of sell side liquidity built up between these lows, this consolidation, So it would make sense that if we sweep that, we could have some sort of bullish reaction. This, of course, is a major low in this structure as well. So there would be sell side liquidity below those. Now I'll draw the attention to the divergence with DXY, which is happening. You can see these lows here, down here on DXY. We've already broke those lows. We haven't broke those lows yet on EU. I'm not sure if they will hold, but it's just to show the divergence. We may break these lows, and if we break these lows here on EU, DXY may break this high, which is even lower. So if DXY takes this high here, and EU takes these lows, that's sell side liquidity, buy side liquidity, and a divergence. What that divergence would mean is, if we was to sweep this, that means that DXY may be sweeping buy side liquidity to sponsor a move lower. And then EU has made a higher low, right, which is divergent from DXY, which means strength to go higher. So I hope that's clear, and that may give us an opportunity to go long. Of course, if these highs go and this low goes and we close out below it, then yes, it'll make a strong case for us to say that we've switched to a bearish trend now, on the hourly especially. We still have this POI draw that I have labeled there for the last week or so, or a few days, which price may dip into and fill completely. There's obviously some highs and lows resting around here, right? And as you can see again, we're closer to this low, this high here on DXY than we are to this low on EU. So the divergence may continue and give us some opportunities there. So now let's go down to the 15-minute and see what opportunities we have available for today. So on the 15-minute, there's nothing super clear at the moment. There's no immediate opportunity that I can see for us to execute from. However, we've been moving bearish overnight. You can see the order flow switch to bearish on the M15 with lower highs and lower lows. Price is at this point now where we've obviously taken the sell side liquidity from Asia. I don't expect much of a reaction there with these lows resting here. These are nearly equal lows, so that would have decent sell side liquidity to sponsor a move. Same with down here, we have some major lows to take sell side liquidity from, and the buy side liquidity high here is discussed. So what I would want to see for my first opportunity today would be for obviously price to continue and take this low or this low, it doesn't really matter. Take one of these lows, create a structure, and break higher. As usual, simple. This is just the strategy here. We come back down to our lower time frame POI and trade it upwards, which you could see counter to the momentum, you could say. So that would be opportunity one. It'll be counter to the momentum, but we'd have the liquidity on our side. We'd have our structure, possibly another sweep again to sponsor the move. But whichever move, even if it's this, causes a breaker structure to the high, it may show us that we've got the momentum and we've taken enough sell side liquidity to at least sponsor some sort of short-term move, maybe back up into a premium of this new leg. There's a 1 hour order block up here, which is quite clear, but there's fair value gaps and stuff on the way because price has been moving so correctively. We like to see corrective price action because this means a build up of liquidity. Obviously, same as if we take this low here, we may create structure, break that structure, pull back correctively, and do the same thing. I don't see any opportunities for sales at the moment unless we come back up into this 1 hour order block or somewhere in this premium, again create some structure, break down, and then pull back to continue with this momentum. So that's the opportunities I see today. I hope you got some value from that. If there's anything that's not clear, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys soon.